Hello, and welcome to episode 48 of Rivers Arcade Review. My name is Zed. This channel is dedicated to the coin-operated video games of yesteryear. Today I'll be reviewing a favorite game of mine, GORF. GORF was released in 1981 by Midway. My first time playing this game was at Farrell's Ice Cream just outside of the Fort City Mall. GORF is a third-person shooter in which you control your ship with an 8-way flight-style joystick and a fire trigger. You need to shoot down enemy ships as well as avoid their shots. GORF was very unique for its time because it included 5 completely different games in one. GORF is the main enemy and looks like an upside-down strawberry and appears in all 5 games. GORF is an acronym for Global Orbital Robot Force, although it was originally just Frog backwards in a tribute to the programmer Jay Fenton, whose nickname was Frog. GORF has synthesized speech similar to Berserk, although this game had the speech during its attract mode. Another new item GORF has was a ranking system, increasing as you get further into the game. The ranks begin with Space Cadet, then move on to Space Captain, Space Colonel, Space General, Space Warrior, and Space Avenger. Your rank is displayed just to the bottom right of the monitor, which will be illuminated on the bezel. Another relatively new thing was the ability to choose the number of ships you begin the game with. You can insert 2 credits to double the number of ships you begin the game with. Just like most games, the manager has an option for the number of lives, either 2 or 3 per credit. The first credit will allow you to play the 2 or 3 lives, but the second credit will allow you to play 4 or 6. To play the second player, you need to enter 2 credits to play a 2 or 3 life game, or 4 credits to play the 4 or 6 life game. The game begins with Astro Battles, which is a Space Invaders type game. Astro Battles is a smaller version of Space Invaders with 3 rows of 8 invaders each. The game begins with GORF bouncing across the top of the screen, dropping the invaders into place. If you shoot GORF before he drops all the invaders, he will explode, although the remains will continue to send out the invaders until they are all in place, and you will be awarded 250 points. Your ship is protected by a single dome-shaped force field, which will protect you from enemy shots, although their shots will damage your force field. Every time you fire, the force field will briefly disappear until your shot clears it. GORF provided a new feature. If you don't like the shot that you just fired, you can cancel that shot by pressing the fire button once again. You earn 50 points for destroying each enemy. Similarly to Space Invaders, there will be UFOs that fly across the top of the screen. There is the traditional UFO, like before, which will fly across the top of the screen and will award 100 points for destroying it. There is also a diamond-shaped ship that will fly about 2/3 of the way across the top and will stop and then reverse and fly back off the screen. Destroying this ship will award you 200 points. Also, GORF will bounce across the top of the screen, and destroying it will award you 300 points. The second game is called Laser Attack. This game has 2 groups of enemies that are formed in a plus-sign arrangement. Each group has 3 different enemies you need to avoid and destroy. For each group, the lowest enemy is blue and red, and it will fire a laser downward at your ship. The second row has 3 yellow triangular ship enemies. These enemies will break formation to dive bomb and destroy your ship. The top row has 1 GORF enemy and will also dive bomb your ship. You earn 100 points for destroying each of these enemies, except you earn 300 points for destroying the blue laser ships. The third game is Galaxian, which is nearly identical to the original arcade version, just with fewer enemies. There are 4 rows of Galaxians in all. 8 yellow enemies in the bottom row. These are worth 60 points when charging. The second row has 8 blue enemies, which are worth 80 points when charging. The third row has 6 red enemies, which are worth 100 points when charging. And the top row has 2 flagship enemies that are worth 300 points when charging. Unlike the original arcade version, all 4 enemies are worth 50 points when in formation. Occasionally, GORF will float by the top of the screen, and shooting him will award you 300 points. The fourth game is Space Warp. This game is played in a wormhole-looking playfield. In the center are a group of blue dots which will become ships that will fly outward in a spiral attack in an attempt to either shoot or ram your ship. There are 20 enemies in all, except for the first time through there are only 12. The enemies include a yellow square ship with the X-type wings on the corner. The second are blue TIE fighter shaped ships. and third are GORF himself. You will earn 100 points for each enemy ship destroyed. Unlike other levels, all you need to do is survive all the attacks to advance to the next level. The fifth game is the flagship stage. This game has a large yellow and blue spaceship with a large red reactor core center. There is a red downward dome-shaped force field protecting the ship. You need to shoot gaps in the force field so your shots can make it through to the ship. The ship will fire large yellow indestructible fireballs at you. You need to shoot the ship just ahead of the red reactor center. Every time you shoot and damage the ship, that piece will fall and shooting that piece will earn you 150 points. Other than the first encounter with the flagship, there will be 2 GORF escorts that will also dive bomb you and you will earn 100 points for destroying them. Once you hit this flagship's reactor in the proper spot, there will be a large explosion which lasts about 15 seconds. Destroying the flagship will earn you 1,000 points as well as a promotion. Destroying the flagship will also earn you an extra life, although this only happens once. After beating the flagship, the game will repeat the order beginning with astro battles but at a harder level. Once you achieve the rank of Space Avenger, you will remain at that rank for the rest of the game. GORF can be played with 2 players, although due to limitations at the time, the 2-player mode was different than other games at the time. Instead of players changing between lives, they would change between games. For example, once player 1 completes astro battles, players will change and player 2 will now play astro battles. If a player loses a life mid-game, they will continue to play until they finish the level or lose all their lives. Something I learned during filming this review is that if you begin the game with 3 credits, player 1 will begin with the extra ships while player 2 will begin with the standard number. I really enjoyed playing this game and highly recommend playing it, especially if you can find it in an arcade setting, since nothing beats the grip of the game's trigger-style joystick. I like playing this game more than Crazy Climber, but not quite as much as Root Beer Tapper, so GORF bounces in to 4th place overall. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If there are any games you would like me to review, please leave a message in the comments section below or on my homepage. Please remember to hit like, share, and subscribe. And stay tuned for new videos every Wednesday and Sunday.